Good evening, Monday night sport. Joining me around the table, Luke Ashmead, our sports presenter.
Aha! Good evening.
I hate it when people say aha.
I don't even know why I said it.
It's going to be good though because we have Darren Turner, who's a golf pro at Callington Golf Club. Hello, Darren.
Hello.
And he dresses like a golfer.
Oh yeah,
There's a certain style about you, Darren.
He has to.
Boy.
Yeah.
Good looking boy. Also,
in the contract. It's in his contract to dress like a golfer, you know.
Also joining us is James Nash from Milton Keynes, who has had a simply outstanding weekend at Brands Hatch. In the touring cars, you're now sitting third in the table?
Third in the table and second in the independent, so it's going well so far.
So what car do you drive?
It's a road car or
the race car? The race car.
A Vauxhall Vectra.
But how different is that Vectra? Because the thing is with touring cars, the reason I love touring cars is because you think, oh, that's my car, that's just like my car. And you go and watch touring cars and you go home feeling proud because you've got a Vectra. But I guess yours is very, very different.
People can relate to it, so yeah, it's very good.
How fast will yours go?
Depends on the gearing, but we're probably doing about 135 round Brands. So.
My Astra could take that in, no problem.
This is Drive
with Roberto Perroni
on the BBC in beds, hearts and bucks.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Not on the gas setting, but if I put super juice petrol in, my Astra will go. James Nash is here as well from Milton Keynes, British touring car driver.
Yes, well, my relationship or getting to know James happened very recently. This happened a week or so ago at Silverstone when the British Touring Cars was launched, and as a good local sports presenter, I said, right, let me look through my list. I'm going to try and find all those local racing drivers. And we're quite lucky, actually, in the British Touring Cars because we have a number. Liam Griffin, we've got Andy Neat, who's from Aylesbury. Chris James is out of Luton in a Chevy, I think. And, of course, the man in the studio with us, Mr. Nash.
Yeah, unfortunately, you bumped into me, didn't you?
Yes, yes, yes.
I mean, I love British touring cars. I haven't been to see them live for a number of years, but I do watch it when it's on television. I just think it's a really exciting form of motor racing. It's just you can connect to it.
Yeah, like we said earlier on, the cars are so like the road cars. People understand it and they can see it, but the racing's so close. There's bumping, not that it's meant to happen, but it does, and it makes the sport very exciting and very close. And
the other element of the sport that I really admire is the calibre of drivers is superb. I mean, you get great drivers in this category. Yeah,
there's lots of drivers that have done it for years and years, and they're very, very good at it. And it's my job to try and kick the older guys out and start pushing the youngsters through. So I'm one of those that is trying to push them out their jobs.
There is a feeling along those lines at the moment. I know at the press day at Silverstone there was this, you know, the big names in British touring cars, your Jason Platos, your Neils. These are the drivers that people will recognise the names of. But actually, there was a lot of talk amongst people there, a part of the BTCC, that actually there's going to be a few young drivers, a few new names coming to challenge those top drivers.
For many years, it's been the case where Formula 1 test drivers, some ex-Formula 1 drivers or Formula 2 have filtered down into touring cars because they were quite comfortable with it, and it closed the world of touring cars off to new, younger talent.
Yeah, there's been lots of F1 drivers that have come into touring cars in the past. I think that's changed quite a lot. Generally, once you're in touring cars, you don't move out, so I'm pretty stuck in my ways now. Not that doesn't give me opportunity to go elsewhere, GT racing and things like that, but the calibre of driving that are in touring cars, I don't think they'd want to move because of the racing.
And the fans as well. I mean, I went to the last race. I think was Brands Hatch last year, wasn't it? And the crowds and the buzz. I mean, it really is top notch. And in some ways, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in some ways, touring cars is simply more accessible than F1.
Yeah, you can get into the pit lane. You can't do that in Formula 1, and you can see the drivers and. You know, I get bumped into all the time, and people asking me questions and things like that. They can get to the drivers and see the cars.
And people come up to you and say, how fast does your Vectra go?
Yeah.
Which is why
only idiots ask that kind of question.
Unfortunately so, yes. But somehow, in my mind, I always think I could get into a racing car, a British touring car, and drive it. Is that what most people say? Jason, because you think, I can get into that car and drive it.
Yeah, it looks easy, but if it was, then I suppose we'd all be doing it. It's theoretically it's easy. We all drive cars, but the competition we're against is very good drivers. So,
how did you get into the sport?
Quite old, actually. I was probably about 13 when I started karting, and it progressed quite quickly. I started to win races, and unfortunately for my father, we had to keep moving up the ranks, which meant more money coming out of his income. But yes, we moved through the ranks into touring cars, and that's where I want to stay until I win the championship at least.
I mean, you had a fantastic weekend by all accounts at Brands Hatch, but motor racing is a very expensive business, and the competition is always fierce. Yeah,
everything in motorsport, the technology is massive. They have to put a lot into it, lots of development work, and there's a lot of team behind each car. I mean, I have 2-3 guys on my car permanently over the weekend, an engine man, and there's a chief mech and everything. So there's a lot of money that goes into it. But that's the only way you can get the car to the front of the grid.
Do you have to have a team? Do you have to be part of a team? Or is it one of those sports where you can enter yourself? I know people have tried in the past to enter their own teams, but some of the sums they've cited have been astronomical.
Yeah, you can do, and the startup costs are huge, but you can always make it successful. There's obviously all teams have had to start somewhere, but it's their history and the people that they've got on board which makes the team today. So it's all about the people.
And the weekend that you've just had, of course, just explain for those that aren't aware, because I'm looking at the results, of course. There's 3 races, aren't there? You came second in the first one, 4th in the second one, and then 6th in the last one. And it's a culmination of those 3 races to your final position for the day, isn't it? That's kind of how it works.
Yeah, we collect points through each race. So race 1, we start where we qualified on the Saturday. Race 2, we start where we finished in race 1. And then there's a reverse grid that I never quite understand how it works, but it does. And top 10 get reverse rounds. So if you finish first, you might end up 10th for the last race. And then it's a collection of points.
And how easy is it to compete with? I mean, are there any big teams? There must be some big teams in the touring car championship. Some sort of manufacturers teams.
Yeah, we've got people like RML. They run the Chevrolet cars, and Dynamics Hondas. And Arena Fords as well, so there's 3 big manufacturers in there. They're getting a lot of money from the manufacturers. 888, my team, they were run by Vauxhall, so they had a lot of money behind them. That's why they're such a good team, and I'm sure they'll find a manufacturer for next year, which is where I want to be with them.
Because years ago I used to follow touring cars and go to a lot of the circuits with Alfa Romeo, and their backing their team was incredible. I thought this is it is a bit like Formula 1 weekend. It's the amount of money, and the big manufacturers, for whatever reason, I'm sure they've got very good reasons, if they go into it, they will plough money into it.
They've got to win. They can't be seen to do anything but, they're there spending money properly. They've got to do it properly, and it's about winning.
We've spoken to a young driver called Tom Ingram on the programme, of course, from South Buckinghamshire, who won the Ginetta Junior Cup last year, and I think he's in the Ginetta, the G50,
G55s or G50s,
something like that. And the one thing that's come up time and time again is sponsorship and the struggle to get that sponsorship. Is that something you've experienced through your career as well?
Yeah, it's never easy. Luckily, I've got my parents behind me, and that they really push and help me find new sponsors and everything else. Especially with the recession that we've just had, it's been particularly bad, but we're coming out of it, and there's a lot of money going into marketing, and we can offer quite a lot of value on TV space and airtime. So,
what makes you a good driver? What makes you have the ability? I mean, is it the car? Is it the team? Is it your driving ability? A combination of 3?
It's got to be a combination of everything. Without one of that, last year I did struggle. We didn't have the best engine in the car. This year we've got a good combination of chassis, car, team, and I feel more prepared than I've ever been. So
are you aggressive? Are you an aggressive driver?
It depends on the circumstance. Controlled, I'd say, controlled aggression.
What's your favourite circuit? Because the thing is, because if you're a spectator and you go to a touring car race, you really get to enjoy the circuit in a way that you wouldn't if it was
Brands Hatch is fantastic.
Brands Hatch is a great circuit, but you enjoy the circuit and the whole surroundings more than you would at a Grand Prix race. There's so many people with touring cars, it almost feels more intimate.
Yeah, like Brands Hatch is at the Indy track. It's very small. You stand in one place and you can see nearly all the corners. There's Silverstone. Yes, it's a big track. It's a nice track, but you can't see anything apart from the pit straight. So it depends. For viewers, I'd say probably Brands Hatch is one of the best. For drivers, it's obviously very, very niche. But somewhere like Croft, for me, it's a nice twisty track, and it's very down to the driver.
I love it. It's a great sport.
We all do think, though, that we could get in the car and...
Yeah, we'd like to.
I've got a Focus, you see, so my car's actually part of the...
Is yours a 1.6?
No. 1.8. It's a diesel, so mine would.
Listen, mine runs on LPG, so unless we can convert it, we're going to struggle a little bit.
There was an LPG last